Good morning, traders. Welcome to the daily webinar. And for all our viewers, including the installment payers, these videos for this entire week isn't going to YouTube. I need you guys to help me here. I need you to help share the videos. You can go, you can click your likes. I know you're watching it live. I know you get the recording, but the people on YouTube who have never seen this will not get to see it if we don't participate on the YouTube channel. It's not asking too much. Go there, watch it to the end, click a like, make a comment, share. That is not much, right? For my YouTube viewers who are going to see this, the entire week is free for you. If you like what you see and you would like to join us, send me a Skype message. Now, some people don't have Skype. It wouldn't take you 3 minutes to actually download a Skype, send me a message. The reason that we're keeping those Skype messages is because when you join us, you will have lifetime access. And that Skype message, if you lost access by any way to the group, the Skype message will show that you were a member of the group and I can bring you back. So it's easy. We've done that to people who have been missing for 2 years and come back. People who lost everything totally, we still try to get them in back because we have traders who've come back after a year, after 2 years. Well, for different reasons, they got divorced, they got children, whatever it is. They leave, they stop trading, they have a contract, they go, they come back and they join. You have lifetime access and that is valid for you for the rest of your life. So you pay once, you get lifetime access and you can learn. There's, people buy this course for different reasons. Some people are students, they buy, they finish university, then start trading. Some people are about to go to pension, so they start learning from now. You learn at your own pace, right? Everything is recorded. I get this question very often. Is the courses recorded? Yes, the courses are all recorded. I get, we get to ask you questions? Trust me, you get to ask me all the questions you want to ask. And as a matter of fact, every single day, we have at least 3 or 4 sessions a day, every single day. Sorry, that's not a 3. Let me erase that. That doesn't look good. From 3 to 5 sessions daily, where I am in the room. And besides that, we have extra sessions when I'm not in the room, which means our top traders are in the room and they're discussing trades. This is the only group you will find this. Live sessions, live trading every single day. Right? Yesterday, I was in at least, I think, 3 times. I was in the morning session. I was in for the recording of the daily webinar. I was in for the London session. I was in for the New York session 4 times. I didn't think I'd come for the update. There wasn't an update between London and New York. Normally, I'll come for an update between London and New York, and that would make 5 sessions a day. You don't get that anywhere else in any group. You show me another group where it actually gives you that. When we come in there, we look at the trades, we discuss them, we take the trades, we discuss, we manage the trades. These 5 sessions are mostly trade management. What do you do with a trade when you're in a trade and it's not going or it's going? And like I promised you, if you follow us for this week, you will get an insight into what we do in our trading room. You will not get everything, but you'll get a very clear picture. So let's start. Dollar index. Dollar index, remember we had a flag yesterday and that was a buy setup, right? We were saying we're in a buy setup. So I can tell you now, if we had bought this, we would close it for break even. And the trade now will literally be above this stop. Here is the problem. When it starts to do this, it's channeling. Right? Normally after a correction like this, you either take off. If you make another correction and you don't take off, you're channeling. What does a channel mean? It means you either drop or you'll take off. You say, well, you just give us 2 directions. That doesn't make sense, right? So I'll give you why that 2 direction. This is an educational piece for those of you who don't know wave analysis. When you start to do this, you're considering 2 possibilities. One is called a running flat, which looks like this, an impulse in, an impulse out. One is a channel, which is an impulse, and you start to make small impulse corrections, and you're ending this whole move to drop. Now, it's very difficult to differentiate between those 2. Right? It is very, very difficult. Sometimes it's very clear, sometimes it's not very clear. The smaller the channel, the less clear it is. But we have specific trading methods, specific strategy, how to trade one or the other. So we don't have to know which one it is. We just have to know how to trade it. So I'll show you what we would do in this case. We'll put 2 lines like this. And if this continued to do that, which means if we see this continuing to do this here, we will try to buy it from the bottom going to top. We will stop buying at the top. We'll try to buy it inside of this correction to go to the top and then put it to break even. If it actually breaks out, it's a running flat, right? So we will be in the trade. We will always be in the trade if it's a running flat. And at the same time, once this takes off, it comes to the top. If it stops, we put an entry to sell under the low. Now that's free gift for you. That's giving you part of our strategy that you shouldn't have, right? So now you wouldn't be able to repeat this as often. Trust me, I know my traders and I know how difficult this is to do. It looks easy when I draw it like this. If you have to do it on your own, you will have a problem. So right now there will be an entry order to sell here. Sorry, there will be an entry order to sell here. The last impulse, that would be this one. And that entry order would stay there. The way it's coming down, I think that entry order will never be tagged, which means this would likely be doing this. And we would look for a buy setup on this trade. And that will go to break even. The entry order for the sell will move to this level. If it comes here very quick, come back, take us out and drop to the bottom, we will be in this trade. Right? We will be in this trade actually from here. If it breaks out to the top, you're already in the buy. And that is how you don't have to decide whether it's a running flat or whether there's another way also to trade it, which means if this is too small and we don't get the buy here, we let it break out of the structure and consolidate above that structure. See? These are all strategies of how you're going to take advantage of the analysis that you know. But before you can implement those strategies, you need to know the analysis. You need to understand how to read the waves correctly, how to identify the patterns you're seeing, what pattern you're looking at this present moment. That is what is important. And how is that pattern changing from what you had yesterday? Yesterday, we had a flag with it for an impulse. You did get an impulse. This is an impulse. This here is an impulse. See, this is an impulse, but it didn't go the way we expected to go. It actually made another correction. This is an impulse, but that didn't go the way you expected to go. It's making another correction. And there will be an impulse. See? So will this one go out or would it stop here and turn to the downside? And that possibility exists. Now, this is showing you the micro picture. We would also look at the higher time frame to decide what the bigger picture is. What is the bigger pattern you're looking at? The bigger pattern will give you an indication, not a confirmation, but an indication that this is likely a running flat because the possibility is more to the upside than it is to the downside. Or this is likely a channel because we are expecting this thing to do this and then drop. See, it's complex. It's not complicated, right? We break it up into simpler pieces so you understand it, but it's a complex structure. It's not as simple as you think. It's complex, but it's easy to do if you do it the right way. If you break it up the right way, if you understand all the pieces in it, if you understand what you're expecting. Like in this case, I would say there's a higher probability of this being a running flat because the bigger picture is telling me upside. So we will always have a buy setup. We'll always be looking for the buy rather than the sell. That doesn't mean we don't put the entry order for the sell. Nothing will go wrong with that entry order because you're not expecting it to ever tag you. But if they do drop, make a new low and then start to go up, you will be in the trade. And that is what strategies are for. We have many different strategies for each different situation. We have strategies that we use to trade New Zealand. Right? That's a different, every different situation will give it. We have traders who have their own strategy that they use on a 5-minute and a 15 minutes. And they will share all of that with you in the trading room if you're there with them. That's what this group does, because I've been getting a lot of questions about the group lately. By the way, we're starting a course in February to train you how to do this with lifetime access. If you want information in that, send me a Skype message. Let me see if I can type that correctly. Yes, MANGAL 457. Send me a Skype message and you will get all the details you need. Most of the people who will be taking this course, they're already in the group because they started the installment payment last year. They've completed that payment. They're already in the group and they're just waiting to do their live course. They've already went through the past courses. They're already trading with us. Some of them are already making money, but they will get their practical part, which is more in-depth knowledge. at the end when we do this in February. So if you want to join us, you can join us two ways. You can join fully and immediately get into the group, or you can join in an installment program, which would allow you to pay at your own rate, however much you can pay. And when you finish paying, you get in the group. But while you're paying, you will get all my daily webinars, the way I'm showing it now. The in-depth knowledge of how to take a trade, what to do, you will still get that. So let's move on. Silver. Yep. We were looking for a sell. And the reason we kept the sell here is because this didn't break the top at that time. It's still here. If you actually sold higher, my traders might have done that. We still didn't break the top, by the way. It's a good sell. If not, let's wait to see if this retests the top. If this goes back and retests the top. And then we will look for the break. As of now, this is still the entry order. The bigger this gets and the higher it comes into that top, the less the possibility is for the sell. That would change the structure from a sell to a buy. I already explained that yesterday, so I'm not going to go into details in that. I think we will get this sell today in the trading room at a much better point than beyond the low, but we will see to that when we get there. We'll look at the internals of this pattern, the way it's developing, and we'll decide where we're going to take it. Gold, we're looking mostly for a buy in gold, and we were looking for actually buying this yesterday, but it didn't break out. It's coming down. I still don't think gold should be a sell because, you know, it's not very clear for us to sell setup. We didn't break this top here, but we'll take off the buy because the buy is no longer valid. Do I want to sell gold at this point with that consolidation? Not as yet. If I'll sell gold, I wanted to break the lows. I'll show you what we wanted to do. I wanted to break these lows and make a flag. Explanation of that will be a next time. That will take a while. Let's go. This one, we expected it to go up. We're not buying it. We're not selling it. We're waiting for this consolidation here to finish. We're waiting for this consolidation to finish. We would look for a sell setup, and then we look for a buy setup, and then there's a really big trade to the downside. The only reason we are monitoring this one is not for those two little trades. It's actually for this trade. See this big drop here? That is why we're monitoring. So we're literally keeping an eye on it only for that purpose. We wanted to do this. We wanted to go back up there, which is what likely it's going to do. And then it might drop here, or it might even stay here for a while. So this could take about 6-8 months. We'll just keep monitoring it every day. We might take small trades in it. But the trade we're looking for is this big move to the downside that is going to come. It might take a while. It's not going to come immediately. That doesn't mean we don't trade it. If you get a good setup from this top to that, we will take that trade, right? So if we get a good sell setup today, we'll take it. It's not there as yet, but if we do get it, we'll take it. Euro, same thing, sell. Absolutely, you should have sold it yesterday. If you sold it yesterday, you would have closed it for break even. And if you closed it for break even, you would have put your entry order here. So you might be in the trade again. It's still valid, but it might be channeling. Just like the dollar index, it might be channeling. So what you're going to do now, or what we would do with this trade, is we'll close it for break even because you really don't want to get into the trade at this point here. If this stays at the consolidation, you close that trade for break even, and we'll put an entry order here. That is if they actually drop through the bottom. It could be they drop through the bottom. I don't think they'll drop through the bottom. I literally think they're going to consolidate here some more. And then we will try to sell it from this point going down, from the top here. Maybe in the 15 minutes, not in the 30 minutes, not in the 1 hour. So right now, we will still stay with this trade. I'll see if it drops. If it doesn't drop through, we close the trade. Your stop is above here. We're still keeping that stop for now. If you want to go for a buy, you can put an entry order for the buy here. And this is more of, well, just in case it takes off to the upside. I don't think it will, but you can do that. Like I just explained that why we do that, right? This is more downside. Long term, it's downside. Sometimes they'd stay a while, you'll create a running flat and then drop. I believe we're making a running flat, but we'll see, right? It's still a sell as of today. You could put that entry order for the buy. Nothing will happen with it. You focus on the sell for now. Fang, same thing, sell setup. This one, you probably could have taken profit out. And if my traders were there, you probably would have closed it here for profit. Very small profit, not the trade you're looking for. Your entry order would have been here. You're back in that trade. Let this drop, take it off a break even, put an entry lower. This one is not so much as channeling. This one is dropping slowly, but it's dropping. It's not channeling. So it's still a sell setup. Aussie. Aussie, this one, we would have taken it higher. I was not in the trading room. That's why my entry is here, but the entry should have been here. My traders know that. You should have changed your entry to that top there because you're looking for the last impulse up and then the drop. But if you took it here, no problem. Let it drop, and then we'll decide if we want to keep it or we want to close it. You have 1, 2, 3. If you want to take out for break even and put under, makes sense, but I would not do that at this point. And we'll explain that because why you wouldn't do that. This one is sharp, so let it come somewhere. But if you want to close it, then put an entry here. By rule also, it's okay. Close it, put the entry there. I don't think they're going to go back up. I think we'll drop through the pattern. There is one chance they could go back up. We'll see that if it goes back up. Most likely you're looking for the downside. Same with New Zealand. We're still looking for downside. This one is a good one. You can put that, you can wait a little more, then put it to break even and put it to break even. Put this to break even, and this has to drop now. Right? You're not expecting them to consolidate here more. If they consolidate more, stay out of the trade, we'll sell it again, right? But now you want it to drop, so you can put that to break even and let it go. Right? This is a very good pattern, and there's a good chance that patterns like this could break out now. This is the low. That is the low we're expecting it to break, and we'll see what happens from that point. In the bigger picture, it's not supposed to go very far. We don't think it will go very, I personally don't think it will go very far, but at least it's going to come to this level. The trade we were expecting is coming to here. Break this low, and then we will see if they reverse or if they actually go through that pattern. Can they go through this? Of course. I'm not expecting them to, but we'll see, because this looks like a big consolidation in the daily structure. See? The daily up move, this is your daily up move. This would drop here, and then it would do two things at that point. It would either go out or it will come back here as a consolidation and drop again. Right? See these big corrections. So I think we might even see a very sharp move up and then see a down move and then go. And there's a reason for that. This is the only sharp move we have. This is more of a big consolidation here. We'll figure it out. Right? So this single drop here that is going to happen might not go very deep, but it's still a very good trade in terms of risk to reward. Right? So what you do is you close the trade for break even, or this one you just put it to break even. This one you don't need to close, put the break even. It's not supposed to go back up. It has to fall. If it goes back up, you're out of the trade. You don't want this trade because it's making a bigger flag, and we'll wait for that to happen. This is a very, very high probability trade for downside. So the only question is it going to drop now, or will it go back up one more and then drop? That's all. I think it's going to drop now. I believe it's very likely to drop now, but we will see. We don't know that for sure. Yen, perfect buy. Keep the buy. For my traders, the buy would have been here, close, re-enter. You're in the trade, put it to break even and stay with it. Right? CAD. There's a reason we put the entry here, right? Good. So there's a high probability of this thing going back up. I spoke about that yesterday. We discussed that in the trading room. There's a high probability of this going back up, making a new high, and then coming down. Actually, we can look for a buy setup. It will be under 15 minutes. That's a short-term trade. I don't think if you're a YouTube viewer and you don't do wave analysis and you don't have the strategies we have, you might want to reconsider whether you take this trade. We're looking for the sell right now. The sell entry is still here, which means if this goes a little more and drop, it's okay. It's not a buy setup as yet, but it could be the short term. You might get a retest of the top here, right? A retest of this top. Maybe it's a 1, 2, 3 like this, a 1, 2, 3, and then a drop. So if we started to see that, we'll consider the buy. It's still a sell setup for now. It's not a buy as yet. The bigger picture is the sell. Maybe in the next couple of hours, we might get a buy setup. Swiss. We sold the Swiss yesterday when I closed the webinar. We actually sold it in 15 minutes. That was this sell here. The trade was closed after it dropped and it pulled back. We closed the trade here. Positive, take that out. We figure out that it's going to start to consolidate more. It's consolidating more. We're still waiting for the sell. It's still a sell setup. It's not a buy, right? This is still a sell setup. This was your impulse. You're consolidating within this range. This should probably come back here. If I'm pretty sure what they're doing, they'll probably go there because I'm looking for a flat here. And if we get that flat, there is a chance we might consider a buy like this before it drops. So if this proves the flat we expect to see there, and it gives a buy for the upside, we'll take the trade, but you will not get that update. That update will happen within the day. for this trade to go. Remember, I'm under 15 minutes now. So we might get a trade to the upside, a short-term trade before we get the sell. There is no sell setup on this as yet, simply because that flat needs to confirm whether it's making a flat or not. We will sell it, but not under any of the lows here. Euro pound. Yeah, you can take this off. It's making a new high, and if it's making a new high, then you're still in the consolidation, but the setup is different, right? We're not buying this. It's still a sell setup, but the setup is different, so we'll have to wait. This is going up slowly. There's no sense buying it. Euros. Okay, so Euros, nothing. It did go up. It did break the top. We did not get the sell setup. If you're considering this a sell, it didn't happen. They make a new high, and we still don't have a sell or a buy, right? If you were considering this buy, it probably could have been a short-term buy. You might have got lucky. I hope you, if anybody take it, you'll have to close it if you didn't take the break even. What's the big picture? The big picture for this is downside. We're going up in a trend like this that is very corrective, right? There, it's a very corrective structure. The whole structure is corrective. Can we retest this top? I don't know. I don't think so. It's very unlikely, right? Can they actually, you know, it looks more like if you're going to consolidate here, you might just retest that top and drop. Now, if we see a buy setup form here for upside that could retest this top here, then yeah, we'll probably consider that. But I don't see that setup as such right now. It's not going up aggressively. It's going up very slow. You can see that we have some divergence in place. So I'll be looking more for sell setups, right? We don't have a sell setup as yet, but if we get a sell setup, we'll go for it. Euro New Zealand, this is the one you buy, right? So this one was, forget about all those lines. That was the detailed discussion we had in our trading room on what to do, but we're buying this only. So you should be in the buy. By now, you should be in that buy because this is the one we're buying. Take all of this out. Let me take the red one out. All right, that's a strategy we're not going to discuss here, what we did there. So we're looking for a buy, and it's only the buy. You should be in the buy. If you're in the buy and you close it, put an entry above the stop, right? Because we are there for a long time. It makes sense to close it and put an entry above the top. This is just showing the top. That is what that line is showing. And this line is showing the bottom. We're breaking out of that. So if they want to drop now, this is the point from where it can drop. So that is why we were managing it so close yesterday in the trading room, right? Remember what we did? So if this wants to drop now, this is the point from where it can drop. So you close this trade for positive break even. You have a few pips, but we call that break even, and it's positive. Put an entry above the top, right? For traders who are on YouTube watching this and want to know what the hell I'm talking about, this is what you call trade management. This is something you really don't hear about a lot in on YouTube and all those places. Because this is what we do in our trading, managing your trades. That's the most important part of trading. How do you manage the trades you're in? How many times have you clicked a trade and it goes your way and you end up losing the trade? That's because of poor trade management, not because of poor judgment. Poor trade management, not understanding what the chart is doing at every single moment that you're in. Right? If you start to understand what the chart is doing, what the patterns are doing, then you understand how to manage the trades you're in. So you're in a positive trade and you think, well, why are you keeping this trade? It's still going up, right? We actually closed that trade twice or three times already. And we are still expecting the upside, but each time it's not giving us the impulse we're looking for. So we wait for that impulse. When you do get that impulse, you stay with that trade. What is the chance of this coming back down? There is a slight chance it could come back down. That's something we discussed in the trading room. There is a chance it comes back to this level and then actually go, which would make this a 1, 2, 3 for upside. Now, we don't know that it's doing that, right? And the reason we don't know what is that, because this pattern could still be this one here and extended something like 1, 2, 3 here, right? And if you're looking at that and said, why do you think it could be this pattern or that pattern? Because of the fractal nature of how the charts behave, and you really can't identify one specific pattern. Sometimes there are more than one option of a pattern, right? So you look at if you take all the patterns that exist and you look at a chart, you might find that with all the possibilities, especially when you're having all of these up and down in here, is that the variations of the patterns that you see, all of us will see different patterns. And when we look at them carefully, you can say, well, I see a running flat. Another guy said, well, I see two, or one said, I see a contracting triangle. Another one said, well, I see actually two contracting flats. And both of you are saying the same thing, right? One said, I see this is the flat and this is the top, right? If that's the case, then you have 1, 2, 3, and then you will go, right? If another trader can say, well, I actually see this is a flat in here. I see this is a 1, 2, 3 for an expanding flat. And that is also correct. That's not incorrect. That's correct. Well, if that's the case, this one is going to take off. And in that case, with that knowledge that you have, you decide, well, how am I going to manage the trade if I'm in the buy? With both expectations, how do I manage the trade? And that's what trade management is about. When you have different expectations, it's not every time like that. Sometimes it's just one direction, and that's simple. Like the yen, it's one direction. Just buy the yen. There was no second direction in the yen at the moment, right? So sometimes it's just one direction. You go that direction. Like the Swiss, we are only selling the Swiss. We're not buying the Swiss because there's one direction so far, right? This one, we need to know it's still one direction up. We just need to know whether this is going to finish a bigger flat here and then. The bigger picture, one direction. On the lower terms, you can come back here and then go. So it's understanding patterns and then managing your trades. EuroCAD, right? We're looking for the buy in this pattern, but it's just going down. We're not selling it. This is not a sell setup because you don't sell in here. You don't really make profit, right? It took from there to there. That's more of a corrective structure. We'll take this off because we're going to expect a flat. And what does a flat mean? It means this here should go back to the top here, but it wouldn't be going out. It would stay here. And then we might get a drop like this. Drop is going to be short. If you look at all of these, they drop, pull back, drop, pull back, drop, pull back, drop, pull back. It's going to pull back. So if you want to sell this, it's a short-term trade. You have to know how to do that. You have to have a strategy for that. And then this would eventually break out. So the breakout would be the big, fast move to the upside. So that is the one we're trying to catch. So far, not going. That's okay. We got it from this one. This is what you're looking for. And this trade was one, and this was a trade. Right? So these sharp moves up is what you're looking for. Those are the ones you book profit on, right? Not the ones that are coming down slowly like this. So let this finish what it's doing. I do think it's going to go back up there. It might be a very big flat, and then we'll look for the sell. Right? Euro Swiss. Okay, so this went up. It's pulling back. That's a sharp move, but it's pulling back very deep into the structure. Once it does that, we're thinking of a possibility for a flat here. You can look at this as the first move up. And once you stay in this level, if they do that and stay here, we will buy. That will take a while. I'm going to do it daily. This will be about 2 weeks or 3 weeks if they do that. If you start to drop, come back to the low, you're going to go back up here and then you'll get a big flat and then it's going to actually drop. You'll be in the sideways for a longer period of time. Let me show you an example of that. Here is a good example of being in the sideways for a longer period of time. See this? Really long period of time, right? You're in this sideways here, and then you take off. You got a sharp move up, you got a big sideways move, and then you got a big move up, right? So are we starting one of those big sideways here? I don't mean as big as that, but a bigger enough sideways to stay like this. Go to the 1 hour. If you get sell set up, you can sell because the range is huge, right? You're talking about this. If this stays here and go back there and then drop, it's coming back like this and probably like this. And if it stays here longer like this, it will go back up. We'll look for the buy. It's not going to drop to the bottom because this one is really sharp. But it's going to give you sharp, very small drops like these and then go. Those are trade setups you can trade as well. Euro Yen. We bought here. You would close the trade for positive. It's not going anywhere. You can't put an entry order above the top. I doubt it's going to go, but we'll see. I think from here, there's a good chance we'll get a sell set up today to come back to the low here. So if this makes a flag here, we'll sell it. Let's see how many hours we're there. No, you don't have a flag, but if it makes a flag, we'll sell. Which means this has got to stay where it is and keep bouncing along in this line here. And if we get this here, we'll look for a sell. Something like this, see this? So if we get, or something like this here, You get a move, you get that's flag, and then you go for the sell. So if this makes a flag here, we'll go for the sell. Right? As of now, it's a buy setup. Pangos. Nothing. It seems you're retesting the top again. Not a buy setup. Leave it. Pound Swiss. Buy something else if you have to. Pound Swiss is a sell, but it didn't go anywhere. We didn't put the entry order in because this went up pretty high. But you're getting a sell setup here now. See this piece? That's a sell setup. That's a flag forming there. We can go for a sell here now. Possibility of forming a running flat, right? Because you have this move sharp up. See this sharp move up there? You're getting this and you're getting a flag here. So if this drops like that, it could pull back like this, make a running flat and then drop. But it's downside, so we'll sell. Because what if they drop like this, right? Then that's a good trade. So I think the sell is very good. We can make an argument for a running flat here. I think we can make an argument for that. This could be the possibility of this running flat here, right? We do have a correction there, and this will just totally drop. So I like the trade. I'll go with the drop. Pound Yen, it's a buy setup. I don't know if you bought it. If nobody bought it, you can give it a try by putting an entry order on top of this for the buy. You'll have to manage that trade very carefully, right? Because there's a high probability that it could just do this and then come down back. Pretty much like this. Just do that and come back here, right? Within this structure, that is possible. But it's a buy setup. The idea is that if it takes off to the upside, you should be in the trade because this pattern will eventually break out, right? This consolidation here will eventually break out of the structure. But can it come back here and then go? Yes, that's possible. You put the buy, let's see if it breaks out. If it doesn't break out, we'll manage the trade, get out of it for positive. And then we'll see what to do next, right? Pound New Zealand. Stay out of it. Pound CAD. Perfect sell setup. Good trade. You should still be in the trade, but if you closed it for profit, that's good. The closing would be once you break this low. You start to see this consolidation here and you close it somewhere here. That's where you should have closed the trade, right? Because I was in this pullback yesterday in the room and I said, don't close it, put it to break even, leave it and let it drop. Now, if you were going to close it, you would have closed it here. And that's a good place to close it. Let's see what we're doing now in the bigger picture. If you kept it, good, put it to positive still. It's kind of going down. Let's see how far this goes. It can go retest the low again. It looks like they're making an attempt to that. Let's see on the daily. What's the biggest structure? We're just going sideways. I remember all these sideways moves, so we'll see. Maybe it's a bigger correction here for upside. I don't think we're going down totally. I think we might be making a bigger correction for upside. All right, so go back to the 1 hour. If it's a correction, it might not go very far more to the downside. Let's see if we have a flag here for a sell. Not really. You might make an argument for running flat here. I think you could make an argument for running flat in here. So put an entry under the low with a stop here. If it's a running flat, that's a trade. If it's a channel, we'll take off the trade, right? So it could either be a channel or a running flat. Most likely looks like a running flat. If it's channel, we'll see once they tag, if it starts to pull back, we'll close the trade. I think we wait some more for the entry order. We want to see more of a correction here. I don't see a correction for the sell. There isn't really a correction there. So let's wait some more and then, but basically we'll be looking for a sell for now. Aussie Yen. Nowhere, nothing. Let's see if it goes up. We'll get, I think this just, kind of break out slightly here, pull back. It's probably going to still consolidate here, go like this, and then eventually we might get a sell setup like this. There isn't any trade setup in that as such. Not for the buy, not for the sell. If you took either way, you got break even. If you took the sell, you got break even. If you took the buy, you got break even. So just let's leave it alone for now. Can we make an argument for a running flat here? I think we can for this one. You could make an argument for a running flat here. It's going up. I would not buy it. Let it break the top and then we'd look for the sell. I'd let that break the top and then we'd look for the sell. Aussie CAD. Okay, I think some of my traders sold this yesterday. Right, I think they sold from here, so that is a good trade. You close it, you can repeat the same thing. There's another sell setup here for me. At least it's looking more like a flag, so that's another sell setup there. Aussie Swiss, it's kind of going sideways. You don't, if you, I mean, if you sold that, you closed that trade already. I'm in the 15 on the one, or if you sold that, you closed that trade already. Do we have another drop? It's possible. It could drop one more. We didn't break this low as yet, right? This is the range we're looking at. This is the first impulse down, right? We did tag the top, so we don't really have to tag the low, but I still think there's a little more downside. This trade you close, you took some profit off, and then we'll wait for this. So I'll watch this to come here slowly, and then we'll be looking for the buy. I don't think we'll get another sell setup. So let it go down, and then we'll look for the buy setup to the upside. Aussie, New Zealand, it's going back up, but it's still within the range. The question is whether you want to buy it or not. And whether you want to buy this or not. I'm not sure it's a good buy setup. I think we just leave it. Canadian. If you bought this yesterday and there was a buy setup, you should close it for profit and then probably put an entry above top. I think the entry order we had here. And if you took it, probably put an entry there. Right? Close the first one, put the entry there. There's a high probability we'll break the top. And if we do, we're going to go with this flat. So this would be, and I explained this in the webinar yesterday, this would be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and this one, especially if you make a flag here, this would be a good trade for the upside. Swiss yen. Also going up, don't buy it. It should break the stop, but then we'll be looking for more of a sell setup rather than a buy setup. It will consolidate in this range, and then we'll look for sells. New Zealand yen. Same here, nothing much. If you bought this, I hope you got break even. Well, you should close now for break even, because if you bought this, you should have been buying it somewhere here. Wait for this to go, take off the break even. It's consolidating, and if they keep repeating this, which means if they do more of this, you're gonna get another drop, right? It's still in a big sideways move. So if they continue to go up like this slowly, we'd wait for the sell setup. That'd be the better trade, right? We can't change the trend line because we haven't broken this top. Once the top is broken, we'll change that. New Zealand Swiss. If you sold it, probably close it or put it to break even, because it's not going anywhere. Either close it or put it to break even. Can we put an entry under the low? Yes, that's possible. They should break the low. So an entry under the low is a good sell, actually. An entry under the low is a good idea. New Zealand CAD. This is a good one. I think this is one we sold in the trading room yesterday. Exactly at that point. On the hourly, you had 1, 2, 3, you close, you re-enter here. If you close, you re-enter here. If you kept it, then you probably should have kept this one. We discussed whether you want to keep that one or not. But you could have 2 or 3 positive trades, very small ones. Another, but remember what we said, right? If they start to do this, you wait for one, you wait for a second one, and then you put the break even. Because they'll continue to do that for a long time. CAD Swiss. Maybe we'll get a sell setup today. We can wait for this. If we get a sell setup, that'd be a good trade. And okay, nothing here. If you actually sold that, you close the trade. And now we get a flat. This is a good idea. We have a flat here now. See? We can make an argument for this being a flat. So if you want to sell this, this is where what you can do. You can put an entry order for a sell here. First, it will break out of the flat, and it will break out of that structure. So if it does come down back here and breaks through this, you're breaking out of this flat, that is this impulse down. And you're breaking out of this structure, that is this impulse down. So this should give you a sudden drop here and then take profit because it will consolidate back up. Okay, I'm going to go very fast because we don't want to make 2 webinars with this. We wanted to do one, and we're going to go UK oil buy setup. Right now, we don't normally buy the top here. I already explained that yesterday, because if you buy the top there, the chances are that's the point from where they could turn. So what we want to do is we bought these. and then you wait for this to consolidate here. It has to stay the consolidation above the top for us to buy again. Otherwise, this could just drop here, start to make flag, and then we'll sell. This is the top of the previous big move up. And there's a good chance that now if they consolidate, we're going to continue to go up. If they drop, this could drop really fast. That is why the risk of buying at the top, there's better one trade, just let it go, trade something else, right? Same for the US oil. This one you could have buy. I think yesterday we explained this in the trading room. You can buy this because this wasn't at the top, it's a little lower. And if you bought this, well, put it to break even. But if you didn't, then let it go. Break the top now, make consolidation, we'll buy again. Natural gas. You're getting a good sell setup here. Let this consolidate some more and look for a sell setup. US 30. It's coming down. We saw this coming down yesterday. Right? You can put it like this. I don't know if anybody sold that, but right now it looks like it's consolidating again. So this one is going up. You're expecting this to come back here. And then we'll probably get another drop. Right? We're going sideways. The bigger picture in this is a buy. If you want to buy this here, you have to have the skill level to get the hell out of it. Right? So this could have been a sell, this here. Because you made a new high there. Put this like this. If you sold that, you close the trade. There's a buy setup forming here. Now the question is whether it is going to go like this and go out of the structure. It's going to go like this and come back here. But this could be a trade. See? S&P 500, same structure, same thing. It's a buy setup. I'll go with the buy. It could be within the flat, which means this would just probably go here and come back down. If you're lucky, they go straight through the top. Nasdaq. Skip this one. Although this has a better structure for upside, it doesn't have a clear buy structure. I don't see the clear buy structure. You can wait some more, and if you get the buy structure, go for it. PayPal. Just leave this alone for a while. It's not going anywhere. If it makes a correction here, then we'll consider the sell. DAX. Stay away for it for a while. Let's see what it's doing in here. And then we'll decide if we go for the buy or for the sell. Nifty, that's a buy. It's still a buy. You haven't broken the top, so it's still a buy. Amazon. You might want to consider the buy on Amazon now. Can we look at this as a possible running flat here? If you get a sell set up here, take it. Because if that is a running flat, then it's going to drop beyond this point. And you can make an argument for that being a running flat. So it should be one more drop and then take profit. Tesla. It's going sideways, leave it alone. This one is copper. We're going sideways as well, not the buyer, not the sell setup as yet. Bitcoin, let's see. Bitcoin is still going down. So we broke this low, which means that even if you go back up now, it's more of a downside. And the mere fact that you broke the low here, you can make an argument for this being a flat, but this is coming down really, really slow. Right? And the lower it comes into here, the more this whole piece becomes a big flat. Right? The lower this comes in here, the more we'll expect one there and then a drop. Right? Right now, it's an upside for this. Right? It's an upside for the buy. This is coming down slowly, short-term trade if you want to trade that. But the bigger picture is upside. Right? Well, I should say medium-term picture is upside. This one is really sharp. And this one is relatively sharp. So this is the most corrective part in that whole thing. So if it is a slow move down as an A-B squeeze structure, this would take off. If not, then this would come to the top here, come back here, go back there, and then drop. All of this would be a big flat here. The buy is not a bad idea, at least short term, right? If you get a buy setup here, it's not a bad idea in the short term basis for the upside. And then we'll see how far it goes. We don't know if it's going to break out of it, but you can retest at least this top. You can come very close to this top, right? So if we make an assumption that that's a 1, 2, 3, then this could be 1, 2, 3, and this could go right back up to the top. So let's see. ETH, short term, it's a buy. You have a big flat. I'll take out that flag there. That's a small flag. And now you have this as a flat. We broke the low. Any buy setup is good. The deeper this comes, the more this becomes a big flat here for downside. It will still go back up, right? So it's either this goes up now and you get a very nice trade, or this comes down here, go back up there and then drop. It is still a buy. Along this line, anything that is a buy would be a good trade. XRP, it's kind of going sideways. They all have the structure of going sideways. So let it drop some more and then look for the buy. And this one is already going up. This is not dropping. So this is going up. Wait for a flag buy. It's breaking out of the structure already. I can't remember where we had this sell in this. I think it was more of this sell. It's more of that sell, but if you put this like this, you would actually be selling it here. And that is your sell setup there, right? So this is a 1, 2, 3. If this starts to go up, buy it. Take this off. If it starts to go up, look for a buy setup, and look for a buy setup early in this piece going up. And let's go. These are all short-term trade. This is the same thing here. You have a flat here. This would make a perfect buy setup now. Wait for the setup and take the trade. Link. It's coming down, but it's coming down as a correction, right? This piece is coming down as a correction. So at some point, this starts to go back up, retest this top, and then come down. I see a flat for upside here also. Possibility of this being a flat here for upside. Keep your eyes on that. If it gives you a buy setup, go for it. Can it come lower? Yeah, I think they can come lower. But it looks, the structure is more for upside right now. Okay, this might be the only one you want to go to sell if you get a flag here. If not, watch for this running flat. If it starts to go back up, watch for the possibility of this running flat here. And the possibility of this here being a running flat. I think you can get both. If you get this flag here, then you go for the sell with caution. If this starts to go back up, wait for a flag and buy it. All right, wait for a flag for the confirmation. Or stay out of this one, trade the other ones that have better patterns than them. AVA, let's see. If you get a buy setup, take it. From this point, if you get a buy setup, you can take it. Same here. It looks more like a running flat at this point. If this stays here as a consolidation, a bigger consolidation, we can take this trade for one more down. Because if it comes one more down, then what we'd assume is that this piece here will make a bigger flat at some point. Nothing here. Wait for this. It has to make a sharp move up, complete this flat, come back here, and then the buy. So there's no trade setup there as yet. TRX. Also no trade setup. It looks more upside. I'll put an entry here. We're not going to the details in this very much, but you can put an entry here. If it's a running flat, it will take off. If not, just leave it alone. That. Okay, this came lower. Same thing. We're looking for running flat. If it goes, it came lower. Then you take off the entry. Do we get a sell setup there? Not as yet. I don't see a sell setup here as yet. We need a correction upwards and then we get a sell. Something like this, see? You need a correction like this upwards. So we need something like this. And if we get this, we'll get a sell setup. So leave that alone and dash. It's coming down. You can sell until you get to the low here. You can sell if you want to sell until you get here. But then from this point, there's a good chance we go back up there. But you can sell. Right? Sell setup very short term. So that's it. I've asked everybody on YouTube if you. I see some guys have posted their views on what is the best crypto. Remember, everybody has a right to their own views to what is the best one, and the best one is always the one you are trading, right? We all believe the ones we are trading are the best one, and they're the top ones and whatever. Remember, we only look at patterns. If there's one with a very, very nice pattern, great, we'll look at it. But for the top 15 or the top 20 that we'll put on, and then we'll make this a separate webinar. It could be a daily separate webinar as well. If you give me the 5 you're gonna go for, go on my YouTube channel, go on yesterday's YouTube channel and video, see what was suggested. If you like it, click a like on it so that we will choose the 5 with the most likes on them. If you don't see the one you want, put it on, see if people like it. The ones with the top 5 with the most likes, I'll add that to this link, to this here, right? Put each one in a separate comment. If you want to suggest 3, put 3 separate comments, because then we don't know which one the person is liking of the 3 that you put, right? So, okay, guys, thank you very much. And to my YouTube viewers as well, if you watch it to the end, great, please share it. I would see all of you tomorrow because this entire week will be out. I hope you're tracking what we're doing so you can see how we look at the patterns and what we do with them, right? Thank you very much. Trade with care. Have a great day. My traders, we close the room and come back in. Right, I'll see you guys a bit later.